Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing the all-new 2022 Toyota Tundra to the last generation Tundra, so you guys can see all of the changes that have happened. With that being said, a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Toyota here in Murray for giving me some time with both of the Tundras. Check out their inventory in the description down below. Let's get right into the video. So let's pop under the hoods of both of the trucks. So starting here with the new Tundra, we have a twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 17 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 389 horsepower and then 479 pound-feet of torque. Now going over to the previous generation Tundra, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 381 horsepower and then 401 pound-feet of torque. So we have less power, less torque here, worse fuel economy, better power, better torque, better fuel economy with the new one. And then also we have less gears with this transmission. So yeah, huge improvement.
I had a double cab. Guy who wants to drive one.
Now let's go over the front ends of both of the trucks. We'll start with the previous generation this time. And by the way, these are both built off of SR5s, if you were wondering. So here with the previous generation, you have the venting right there, which looks really good from an aesthetic perspective. And then notice kind of everything that happens here at the hood, pretty flat overall. And then coming down below, we've got the halogen bulbs. And then you guys can see we've got the fog lights right there. Massive grille with the Toyota logo that doubles as a sensor. And then you can see all of the accent here with the bumper and everything. Just notice how everything's kind of like boxy, somewhat rounded off with certain elements, but it's mostly boxy. Now popping here to the new Tundra, look at the contours here with the hood, and then we do have the LED reflector lights. There's a little orange accent light just down below that, and then you have the teardrop accent similar to what the 4Runner has. They've pretty much taken a lot of styling from the 4Runner with this new Tundra. And then the massive front grille with the Toyota logo. Got the Tundra logo right there. We do have fog lights on either side there at the bottom portion of the grille. Parking sensors as well. And yeah, seeing them next to each other, it's like you got like a spaceship there, and then you have like, you know, the old Tundra. It's pretty interesting. Coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels on the old Tundra. On the new one, we have two 65mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels. Now this new one does have the TRD Sport package, if you were wondering. You guys can see the design here with the wheels all blacked out. I picked out this used Tundra because it also had blacked out wheels, so I thought that they would kind of match a little bit sitting next to each other. Anyways, notice we've got the 5.7 liter V8 badge there. We've got the Tundra logo down below, and then you guys can see the mirror with the black plastic on the door handles as well, around the windows. And then here at the new Tundra, notice the badging looks a lot nicer, and then notice how everything's body painted, including the door handles and the trim around the windows. So it just looks a lot better from an aesthetic perspective. And then you guys can see everything here on the side. Notice we've got the fender flares here at the new Tundra, whereas with the old Tundra, you don't have that. And then you guys can see here in the back, same deal. You have like no fender flare there, but we've got the fender flare here at the new Tundra. And then again, we've got our SR5 badge there, TRD Sport 4x4 badge. And then here at the new Tundra, this is a huge change. So you guys will notice that we have no leaf springs because it uses 5-link coil suspension in the back end. Whereas with the old Tundra, you guys can see it used leaf springs, and it makes a tremendous difference in ride quality. The old Tundra would kind of have the, you know, back and forth motion a little bit, whereas the new one stays nice and planted, and the ride quality is just significantly better. Now let's go over the rears of both the trucks, and let's talk about capabilities. We have 1,385 pounds and then 1,395 pounds respectively. So even though they've switched to coil suspension, you aren't giving up anything from a payload capacity perspective. And then on top of that, the towing capacity between both of them is pretty much the same, right around 10,000 pounds roughly. So I saw a lot of people again in the comment section that said, hey, it's less capable because of coil suspension. Not true. Anyways, popping over here to this Tundra, you guys can see that the tailgate is dampened, does slow lower down. This one does have bed liner from, well, not from the factory, from Line-X. And then you guys can see everything else here in the bed from that whole perspective. And then lifting up the tailgate, a little bit on the heavy side. Now popping over the new Tundra, it does have a button on the key fob to lower it down. I'll show you guys the key fob in a moment, but it also does have the dampened function. And then you guys can see this one doesn't need line or anything like that because it has the composite bed. But anyways, storage space pretty much the same. Notice we've got the LED cargo lights there at the top, which is nice. And then lifting up the tailgate, feels a little bit lighter than the previous generation. And then as for the rest of the style cues here on the back, I love the look of these new taillights. They look super modern, and when they're on, they just have that really nice kind of like sleek aesthetic. Tundra logo stamped in the bed with the 4x4 badge. We do have the bumper step right down below, and then we've got parking sensors here on the rear. And then with the old Tundra, you guys can see we've got the old school taillights there, and then the chrome bumper with the receiver hitch. No parking sensors or anything like that. But yeah, that is everything for the rears. So let's pop in. Let's pop into the rear of both of the Tundra, starting here with the older generation. You guys can see the material use here all over the door panel and the door handle and all that. Has that normal Toyota durability. And then here are the seats. We have these cloth seats, and then you can see the accenting here in the center of the seat. And then you can lift them up. There's some flat storage below. And then legroom in both these is actually pretty much the same. I kind of found that out. So they're both massive. Got some vents back there with a 12 volt. Got the cup holder pull down. And yeah, that's the storage space in the old Tundra. So we'll close her up. Now opening up the new one, you can see the door panel looks a lot sleeker, a lot more kind of like modern with the material use, all that fun stuff. And then coming to the seats, this is the cool part. So this is an optional package here with the SR5 TRD Sport, but you guys can see the seats look really good with the design and everything, and you can see just as much space there with the legroom. Got some cup holders right there in the center. And yeah, that's the back of the new one. Let's pop into the new one first and then the old one second. Now here's the door panel at the front with the new one. Again, look at the material use here with the padding and everything. Looks a whole lot nicer. And then you guys can see the blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. Got our window controls right here with the door lock and unlock, and then we have our mirror adjustments. And then here are the seats at the front. Again, look at the design here on the seats. Looks really nice. And then the power adjustments just down below. And then look at the pedals as well. Really nice attention to detail. Got the light controls here with the auto stop start. And let's actually pop in now. Notice we have our TRD stop start. You guys can see everything come to life. So starting with the steering wheel with the new Tundra, notice we've got really nice leather here all around the steering wheel, and then here on these sides as well, nice perfect leather so you get a good grip. We have our adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist as well, and then you can see over here we've got our volume, voice command controls, phone controls, all that fun stuff. And there is stitching here on the airbag cover as well. Turn signal light stock. We have the windshield wiper stock on the other side. And yeah, that's everything for the steering wheel. Coming to the center stack, you can see really nice, modern, and sleek with kind of how everything looks. And then you guys can see there's a few different menus you can scroll through to get different bits of information on the truck, for example, your music, all that fun stuff. And I think it looks great overall. We do have a tow haul mode for the new Tundra, and then we do have some different drive modes. We have our normal, sport, and our eco that you can go between from a drive mode perspective. So yeah, I think all of that's really good. Now moving on from that to the center screen, I just have to go through this menu here quickly. And then we just press cancel, and we press yes, and now we have the infotainment system. First off, if we pop into reverse, you guys can see the backup camera with the trajectory lines. When you turn the steering wheel, it looks great. Moving on to the rest of the infotainment system, you guys can see how modern this looks. Response time on it is really good. I mean, it's instantaneous when you press the buttons, and I like how it's integrated here into the dash. I think Toyota did a really good job with that. Moving down below, we have dual zone climate controls. We have heated seats here for the front passengers as well. This for the stability control, and then that's for the hazard lights. We have our auto hold here with the parking brake. We have the shifter here for the 10-speed automatic transmission. Again, it has a manual shift function. The drive line select, and then the drive mode select here with the tow haul mode, a couple cup holders, and then the storage space right there. Here's the center console. It has this little pass-through lid, which I think is really cool. And then opening it up, you guys can see the rest of the storage space there. Has a couple of USBs inside and a little shelf and all that. And then here's the glove box. You can see the storage space there. And then also there's a shelf here at the top as well. So storage space in this is really good. And then notice we do have a manual mirror dimmer. And then this does have the window that goes all the way down there in the back. That's another nice feature. But yeah, this is everything for the new Tundra. So let's head over to the old Tundra and see how far they've come. Now here's the door panel in the old Tundra. So you actually get some padding right here, and then this is somewhat padded. And then you guys can see the window controls here, the door lock and unlock, and then here are the mirrors. And then here are the seats at the front. So you guys can see the cloth seats, the design here in the center. They're manually adjustable. And then you can see the pedals just down below. This is actually to pop open the rear window. We got the mirror controls right here, some light controls as well. And yeah, there's some look before we pop in. So let's step in, close the door. Definitely has a nice clunk to it. Now we've got to actually put the key in the ignition here with this one. No push button start. Got that V8 that'll rumble to life. So first off, here's the steering wheel, pretty basic from a material standpoint with the steering wheel itself. This does have cruise control to follow function, lane departure assistance, all that stuff. So it's pretty similar safety tech wise. Volume, voice command controls, but just notice that it just doesn't look as pretty as the new Tundra, but functionality is the same pretty much. Turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, and then you guys can see here for the center stack, again, somewhat similar with analog gauges and a screen there in the center, but it just doesn't look as pretty as what you have in the new Tundra. It doesn't look quite as modern. And you don't have all the same drive modes with this. This does have a column shifter rather than the console shifter, and you can manually shift the gears with the 6-speed automatic if you want. And then let's actually pop it into reverse so you guys can see the backup camera. It has trajectory lines, but they do not turn with the steering wheel. Resolution's not as good as the new one. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, I'm not going to say this is a bad infotainment system. It's easy to use. Response time on the buttons is relatively good. It's not as responsive as the new one, but I think this is a good infotainment system overall, and it's nicely integrated here into the dash. And you guys probably can't see very well, but there's analog buttons here on either side. And then down below the infotainment system, we have our climate controls. This has a single zone climate, and then we have our drive line select here. So we have our 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel high, and then our 4-wheel low. This one has the bench seat configuration, so we have a seat here in the center. And then we have the glove box. You've got the mirror here at the top, and then this pulls down this little sunglass holder. And then, like I said, we have the window that goes down, just like the new one. So you have the whole window that goes down, which is a nice touch. Now that we've compared the new Tundra to the old Tundra, let's kind of sum things up and decide whether or not you should buy a new Tundra. So yes, I understand a lot of people are sad because we no longer have a V8 in the Tundra, but this new twin-turbo V6 is just so much more refined, right? It has so much more torque. The acceleration's better. That 10-speed automatic is just night and day difference compared to the 6-speed automatic. So from a driving experience perspective with the acceleration, it is night and day difference, so much better compared to the previous generation. And then with the coil suspension in the back end with the new one, it just rides so much smoother, so much more compliant. When you go over bumps, it doesn't get nearly as upset as the old one. It doesn't clunk around and all that kind of stuff like the old one, so it just does so much better with that. And obviously, interior-wise, it looks amazing. I love the exterior styling with the new Tundra. I think, again, look at it. It looks like a spaceship next to the previous generation, so I'm a huge fan of it. Now, obviously, there is a price to pay. Like this SR5 TRD Sport with all the options it has is almost like $55,000, which is pretty expensive. I mean, that's as expensive as what you'd pay for a Limited with this generation. So yes, there is a price to pay for all of the refinement, but again, there's so much refinement with the new one. So if you're looking for a Tundra that is going to ride better, accelerate better, it's going to tow better. If you take it off-road, it's going to be substantially better off-road because that 5-link coil suspension is going to be smoother and just have a much more modern vehicle, then the new Tundra is going to give you that. But I guess if you want to save some money, stick with the old one, right? It was a little bit less. But yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts. I'm a huge fan of the new Tundra. I think it's a huge improvement over the previous generation, but again, that does come with a slight cost. Now that's going to sum things up with our comparison between the new Tundra and the old Tundra. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Toyota here in Murray for giving me some time with both of the Tundras. Check out their inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.